Okay, good morning from Switzerland. This is the second day of the annual spring retreat over here. This is from my private room, and this is a bit of an altar that I have here in my own room. Nice little gifts. And this is a Theravada Buddhist place somewhere in the mountains of Switzerland. This is the second time that our Sangha has the spring retreat here. It's quite nice. The mornings are quite cool actually still. The spring in Slovenia, back at home, has been cold, like the winter was very cold. And same it's been here. It's exceptionally cold, cool spring. So I thought of doing some YouTubing. I'm filming just these clips and putting them together after the retreat. But just thoughts about various things and how teaching a retreat is for the teacher. Maybe that's interesting. This retreat is 8 days long, and like I said, this is second morning. So we started not yesterday but the day before in the evening with the first session, and then had a full day of practice yesterday starting at 6:30. The wake up is at 6 a.m. and we start practicing at 6:30, and then we have 4 long practice sessions throughout the day. So the practice sessions are from hour and 45 minutes to 2.5 hours. And it's quite relaxed the way how we've set the retreat schedule and the style of the retreat in Open Heart, formerly Amrita Mandala. It's quite relaxed. Like we encourage social contact, so we encourage talking with others, which is really meaningful. Most of our Sangha members are spread out all over the world, so retreats are, to many of us, the only opportunity to physically meet other Sangha members, other practitioners of our lineage, and then share thoughts and share ideas and share feelings and share discoveries. So this is actually very important and meaningful aspect of our retreat, that we talk about stuff. So our retreats are not silent retreats. Also, regarding the style of our retreats, we eat substantial food. We have meat or fish available on all meals, and we also have plenty of time for rest. So we have full 8 hours at night available for sleeping, and then we have 3 or 4 when we have meal breaks. The meal breaks are purposefully a bit longer so that those who didn't sleep well the previous night can take naps. And of course, those are also the periods, like I said, to talk with others and to get to know our Sangha members. And also, teachers included. So, we are a small Sangha. This retreat is in person attended by 25 people, plus another 10 online. So, we have very small retreats. And this, of course, makes it possible. I'm the head teacher of the Sangha and this retreat. So this also makes it possible to talk with everybody one-on-one both having like coffee table discussions and also private discussions with those who want to talk about something private. So the reasons, by the way, why we have like we don't have, how could I say, reduced sleep. So we have plenty of time available for sleeping, resting, and the reason why we have substantial food, meat or fish available on all meals, and why social contact is encouraged is because it's, if you're not used to sustaining on vegetarian food, if you're not used to sleeping little, if you're not used to staying quiet, these factors can cause problems for people. I remember in my Zen days, I was still very young back then, over 20 years younger than I am now. Now I'm a middle-aged man. And I remember that people had all sorts of physical problems, insomnia, and sometimes even like how to say, psychotic episodes on retreats, because people weren't used to staying quiet or sleeping much less than usually. So I saw this enough in my Zen days, and I've heard that this happens on Vipassana retreats, different types of retreats where such guidelines are followed, and I just don't see the point of it. This whole whole view of reduced sleep and vegetarian food and staying quiet, it comes from monastic culture. So from monasteries and the way how retreats are organized in monasteries. But none of us joining our retreats, and most people joining Zen retreats in the West around the world, or Vipassana retreats, they are lay people. So, they are not used to such things. So to avoid such problems from arising and to make the retreat a very comfortable and enjoyable atmosphere is why our retreats are like this. So we have 4 long practice sessions each day, and most of the sessions are taught and led by myself, and some of them are led and taught by our instructors, acharyas. At present, I just came up from downstairs where the main practice room is, and I led this, it's called immortality exercises, which is like a internal cultivation method where that is done physically. So physical warm-up sequence, if you use simple terms. And this is the second morning. So I led it last morning, yesterday morning, and today morning, just to teach people who hadn't done it before, so that they know how to do it by themselves tomorrow morning and onwards. So I went downstairs and led the session at 6:30 for half an hour, and then one of our instructors took over and is at present leading Rainbow Body Yoga practice for the whole group. What else could I say about our retreats? I think that something that is really important is the atmosphere of the retreat. the social atmosphere of the retreat, the kind of the emotional tone of the retreat. And this is an obvious point, probably all teachers consider this important, but I always wanted our Sangha to be approachable and easygoing and down to earth, that even when we are practicing high yoga teachings, high tantric teachings, that it's still down to earth, approachable, easygoing. And this, of course, creates a pleasant atmosphere to practice, for everybody to be in and to enjoy. I've been to so many retreats where this wasn't the case. so this obviously led me to view about retreats in this way, that I want everybody to feel comfortable, and even though we are in this retreat center in a foreign country, in a strange place, that there is this atmosphere that supports people. I think this is really important, and I think it's really important in any kind of learning that you like being there. Because if it starts feeling like strange things are happening, and which I've seen so many times, really strange things happening, really strange things being said, kind of just weird things happening. So it makes the place, the opportunity of the retreat, it makes it like a good container for the person, for the energies, and for the psyche and the body to open up, but also then to learn. So I don't know if other teachers think about these things, like properly contemplate such things, but often you see in yoga, in meditation, in cultivation, scenes, culture, you see this attitude that, of course, this is a serious practice. It's a serious matter to all of those who practice these ways, but this kind of rigidity of attitude, being rigid, being tense, I've seen that far too much in my Zen days and in other places where I've been to over the years, and I think it's completely counterproductive to internal practice. And especially when thinking about this from the perspective of psychological trauma, developmental trauma, complex trauma that I myself also had, and that I've seen many people in different spiritual communities, meditative communities have. But then when you have rigid rules, no talking, little vegetarian food, little sleeping, this is serious practice, people just get more and more tight. And that's a very, how do you say, flammable, potentially dangerous situation and it's completely backwards, because we are supposed to, with the help of practice and instructions, with the help of the teacher and the community, we are supposed to open up. We are supposed to be able to, increase our knowledge of ourselves, to get to know ourselves better. But this won't happen if it's, too macho, too masculine, too rigid, too hard, too anything. So in that sense, I consider as a teacher of this method and our community important to, like I explained, to okay, let's just try to enjoy and calm down, and let's not do dumb things that are counterproductive in our practice and on these retreats. Really wasn't planning to talk about for 14 and a half minutes. So let's see if I chop this up in, publish them in separate segments or make a longer documentary. But these are my initial thoughts about our retreats and how for a teacher, how it feels to lead retreats. And I think I will get to that second part in the second video. Okie dokie, thank you for listening. Baba checking out. Bye. Okay, good morning again. It's 2 days later, morning of day 4 of this retreat. Again, taking a shot of this private altar of mine. People have brought different gifts, all kinds of nice cute gifts. There. Okay, good morning. Good to see you again. Like I said, it's now 2 days later than the first clip that I made. 4th day of this retreat starting. And we're now closing the midpoint of this retreat. So this retreat lasts 8 days in total. The first few days are always, it's really like that for everybody, not only myself, the teacher, but the first few days are kind of getting used to a, faster pace or more intense practice that one is used to. So during the first few days of the retreat, on all retreats, people rest a lot, and so have I. I've rested a lot these first 3 days, but now the tiredness is beginning to subside. The 4th full day starting, like it always does on day 4, on day 5 at latest. So obviously, if you're very stressed and come to a retreat very tired, then it takes maybe 5th day until you start feeling really clear and really settled, really open, heart really opens up. So this is kind of the stage of this retreat that we're in, and which is, by the way, we in Open Heart we have 2-day retreats or 2.5 day like weekend retreats, most of them, and then we have these longer retreats. And for many years we actually had spring and autumn retreats for 4 or 5 days, but now we decided to extend these 4 or 5 days, replace them with week-long retreats, 7-8 days retreats, and then we also have the summer and winter retreats that are week-long. Simply because it's kind of when people take time off from their families, from their jobs, to join a 4 or 5 day retreat. It's all the same to spend a week and make better use, because like I said, it usually takes 4 or 5 days to things really clear up, the body mind to really properly open up, to settle into the natural state. So then when you still have few days after that, you can really get to enjoy the taste, enjoy the deliciousness of your own nature. I might have mentioned in the first video that I made a couple of days ago that I think teachers should be available for students. And this also means being available for students during retreats, for discussions, for questions, or just to hang around. Even the hanging around is very important, I feel, because that's how you get a sense of somebody, anybody. And that's how you get to know somebody. That's how you, little by little, develop a friendship and start to trust somebody. And actually, it's the same way for me as the teacher, that I want to spend time with the people who join my retreats, the members of our Sangha and my students, because I also want to develop that. I want to get to know people better, and there's an element of trust there also. So obviously it goes both ways, like it goes in all relationships. And we've had so many conversations with almost all the participants now by day 4 on tea breaks, on meal breaks, and yeah, it's. I think this is how it should be. I've joined some retreats in the past myself where often in a traditional setting, the teachers aren't really available like this for students. And when you have a chance to meet with the teacher, then it might be a lot more formal rather than informal and casual. And also I've joined retreats before in the past where the retreats were so big, there was over 150 people joining the retreat, that it just wasn't possible for the teacher to meet everybody one-on-one. But I gotta say that on those retreats where the groups are large, I always kind of wondered why the teachers seem to make themselves unavailable, like literally unseen at other times than the sessions they actually taught. So I don't know, I never have had that problem, because our retreats are joined by anything from 15 people to this retreat 35 people, so 25 here at the venue and 10 people online. So I've never had that problem, not having enough time to discuss with everybody one-on-one. But nevertheless, I think that there should be, if it's not possible to talk with the teacher directly, then at least there should be instructors, other lineage teachers, lineage acharyas to be available for one-on-ones. Yeah, it's that kind of art that you have to have personal contact. And this is, of course, something that, when organizations get bigger, this should be taken into consideration. Teachers or masters, gurus, they should train their students as instructors, as teachers, who then not only have personal practice experience, but are capable of giving one-on-one instructions and that kind of personal connection with the lineage. There's quite a bit of things that we have done on this retreat, like we do on all retreats, different kinds of practices. Like I mentioned in the previous video, we have 4 long practice sessions per day, each one of them approximately 2 hours. It's not actually that much practice, but the way how I always wanted to run retreats and teach sessions is with high intensity. So, our method is a tantric method, mantric method, which has nothing to do with anything sexual or sex things, but tantric means a specific kind of methodology, spiritual methodology. So our Sangha is tantric, and that's why in Tantra there is always this element of transmission from the teacher to students. And this transmission takes place at every teaching session that the teacher teaches. So what are we talking about transmissions? Well, it can be a specific empowerments. I just gave one empowerment yesterday evening, or simply transmission or transmission of the natural state itself. It is called in Tibetan system. This is called pointing out instructions or pointing out the nature of mind, or direct introduction into the nature of mind. Excuse me. So this element of transmission should always be there when we are talking about a tantric teacher. Whether the teacher is just more or less casually talking about the natural state or any other topic about the teaching, or answering questions or doing whatever, that transmission, that element should be there. And like I said, that I like to give the transmission in a way that leaves no room for uncertainty. No room for uncertainty, that it really becomes clear. Over the years, I've received so many transmissions. Oh, these transmissions, by the way, in the Hindu context, they are called Shaktipat or Shivapat, which literally means transmission of blessings, transmission of pure energy, transmission of consciousness. It's probably translated in some Hindu connections. But I have always wanted to give it in a way that it leaves no room for doubt. And I've received many such transmissions myself over the years from different teachers and different gurus on different continents and in different countries. And something that how my masters taught me in comparison to what kind of transmissions that I received over the years, the main difference is exactly that usually transmissions given by teachers in different lineages, Hindu teachers, Buddhist teachers, Tibetan Buddhist teachers, and so on, the intensity is very low. The volume is low. The quality is, if the lineage is authentic, the quality is good, the energy is pure, there's no impurities in there, but the volume is low. And this is really the main difference in how I've been taught and in the way how I teach, is that I always turn the volume up. Because of this reason, that it creates such a powerful, strong wave or waves of blessings and Shakti, that it cannot but make the mind state and energy of the recipient shift. And this is always that is the aim of all transmissions and empowerments, to make people's energy shift. In other words, you could call this, sometimes I call it myself, lifting people's karma, or pushing away people's karma so that their natural state can appear. So the way I see it is that, and the way how I've been taught by my masters is that, and this is kind of, I think that this is also integrity question, integrity about, teachers' professionality, that teachers have to guarantee that this shift takes place. Whether we are talking about an hour and a half long short practice session, or we are talking about a retreat that lasts 10 days, one of the things that teachers need to ensure is that the students recognize their natural state. I think this should be really obvious point. I think that first and foremost, the responsibility of a spiritual teacher, Dharma teacher, teacher of yoga, Tantra, internal yoga, is this, that in one way or the other, the students recognize their natural state, their Buddha nature, whether in short session or long retreats. And this is something that I've talked about over the years, mainly, of course, to our teaching staff, our instructors, who I'm training or have trained, making this point very clear, that because it's a good question, why is the teacher there if, well, okay, maybe I don't want to sound too harsh about this. It's good that dharmic inspiration of the teaching of awakening, of the teaching of reality, different groups led by different kinds of teachers. It's good that this exists, but when we are talking about from a bit deeper perspective, a bit more serious perspective, then definitely this standard should be there. This standard should be there in all sessions. And if we are talking about the professional teachers, like professionality of the teacher from this perspective, those skills need to be there. Whether you are teaching a practice that makes possible for students for them to recognize this natural state, or this transmission element, these skills need to be there. That goes without saying that. This is how I see it anyway. Okay, I have to start thinking about other things than YouTubing. And we still have a lot of things to do and cover on this retreat. All kinds of things. There will be refuge ceremony in a couple of days, and then there will be ordination ceremony of 6 or 7 students. So it's quite busy, together with I'm leading 3 sessions a day now. So it's quite a bit of work to do. And of course, like I said, I like to keep the gas pedal to the floor. There's some rock song about that from the 80s. But I think that's the way how it needs to be done. Thank you for listening again. Hope you're doing well. Leave a comment, leave a question. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Okay, all the best. Baba signing out. Cheers. Hello again. It's still day 4. I just filmed the bit that you saw in my room, and then came outside to do some exercise before breakfast. Beautiful spring morning. The sound of the cowbells is everywhere here. Poor cows losing their hearing, but it creates this certain kind of atmosphere here. Okay, see you later. Okay, sixth morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm taking a few shots from the valley. I'm having morning tea here. The microphone probably picks up the sounds of the cowbells. But it's this beautiful valley where we are. Okay, hi again. It's now, like I said, it's sixth morning of this retreat. We still have 2 days to go. Since the fourth day, things have nicely settled down. I mean, the group dynamic is really good. Still, there has been lots of discussions, both in the meditation hall and personally. So lots of good exchange and good energy there. And today and tomorrow there will be. So today there will be a refuge ceremony, and tomorrow on the last full day there will be ordination. Ordination for, I think five my long-term students, long-standing students, and today 6 people are taking refuge, having been practitioners in Open Heart for from year up. Oh, yeah, it is. Has been internally, like proper internal work for myself as well. It always is, of course. On this retreat we have done, well, in Open Heart we have the 3 paths according to the 3 bodies, and we do practices of all these 3 paths, meaning that it's a 8 days of cultivation that is comprehensive. So yeah, it's a proper internal work, and there will be stuff that comes up and then demands you to see through it and bring awareness to it. It's I think it's Thursday morning now, and I didn't really even notice it before, but there's lots of noise coming from the surrounding village here. Didn't really pay attention to it. Number of people have told me about, and this is always the case on retreats, that people have shifts. So there have been booming shifts, awakening experiences, and then just one student yesterday evening told me that he started having an astral body cessation the previous evening. So, and one student told me that he has already finished causal body and astral body. So he said that his physical body went into cessation. So these things. Oh yes, maybe this is something to talk about. So these kind of events, cessation is a very central thing in internal yogas, in the world of meditation, and all the classics, be they Hindu scriptures or Buddhist ones, they always talk about this cessation. Nirodha is the Sanskrit term. So so this should happen like on intensive retreats. This should happen that these cessations take place, and even lasting cessations, so that not only momentary, but real enlightenment, real transformation. And yesterday we've had this. I asked 6 of my students who have finished mind and subtle body work. So, according to our terminology, who have finished causal body and astral body purification, I asked them to give accounts, spoken accounts here on retreats, and we've had them for the last 2 days, on day 4 and day 5, and then on today 6, the last 2 of them will speak. And something that came up in those talks was that how should I say this? It's like that this training is real and enlightenment is real. When I say enlightenment is real, I'm in a way quoting countless masters, Hindus, Buddhists, Taoists, cultivators, who said the same thing. Like, I'm quoting many historical masters, highly revered masters, still studied masters, who said exactly the same thing. So enlightenment is real, and the process of enlightenment is real. And something that people said in their talks is that kind of being amazed that it is real, because in other training systems that they have followed, this doesn't happen. And I've been part of such traditional time-tested training methods myself, but Open Heart is quite different, because the main or big part of my work as the founder and teacher of Open Heart has been to revitalize and review techniques and methods of practice. So revitalize and review and see if there is something missing, if there is something completely irrelevant, which is often the case. Practices have no actual relevance with getting to fruitions, these cessations, getting to enlightenment. This is often the case. And this is why Open Heart is quite different from I've studied so many methods throughout the decades that and I'm not gonna name these methods here now because I don't want to upset anybody, but it is also a known fact that even though some teachings of some lineages are presented as the original teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha, or the original teaching of this master or that master who lived 1,000 years ago, it is actually a fact that the lineage teachings in various lineages are changed every 100 or 200 years. So the methods are constantly over time changed, edited, things are taken out, things are put in, and this of course affects how effective or ineffective and how relevant or irrelevant the practices are. And this is of course a very central matter in this topic of enlightenment, because it's the view, the theory, and the practices, and plus other few things that either enable it or how do you say, make it not possible. So there is this weird kind of flirtation about enlightenment, and then all kinds of silly and immature takes on this. But personally, I always just stuck with what great masters in their writings said, that enlightenment is real. And I remember one of the 20th century Tibetan Buddhist greats, Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, he said that, he made this very clear in one of his books. He said that he has met many men and women who have attained enlightenment, and that it's not fantasy, it's not a fairy tale, it is real, and everybody can attain it, that it's possible to attain it. But there is this weird kind of vagueness and flirtation and just kind of self-sabotage around this whole topic and discussion, especially in the Western world of spiritual cultivation. Yeah, well, I've spoken about this a lot over the years. I've spoken about the ins and outs, and how the methods actually need to start delivering from day one of practice. Yeah, this is I've spoken about this countless times in on open heart retreats and my books and all that. So maybe that's enough of this. But this what I mentioned this because people mention this in their talks, that when the method is sound and authentic, then awakenings and enlightenment and cessations are real. It actually happens. It actually happens in non-conceptual manner. It happens in our minds, in our psyche, in our physical bodies. And I wish, I always did, that this would be available and possible for all the seekers around the world. All the seekers around the world. Sometimes I've thought of training. Well, I train teachers and instructors in our lineage, but sometimes I've thought of offering a teacher training to teachers of other lineages, just as an act of bodhicitta, as an action of compassion, because I know that many out there struggle, just like I did when I practiced in traditional systems. So sometimes I thought about this, but the thing is always that you have to get disillusioned first. And, I'm not pointing fingers to other methods, It's a big wide world with all kinds of things and teachings and lineages and teachers, and may all of it thrive. May all of it thrive for the benefit of all beings. But at the same time, we need to ask if, because the Buddha and all the masters, they gave teachings and created methods so that this full, total, complete enlightenment would be attained, reached by their followers. That's why they gave the teachings. But when and if that is not happening, especially now when yoga teachings, meditation teachings, cultivation teachings have spread around the whole world, around the whole globe, and when it's not happening, this discussion needs to be had, that, like, what is going on? What's the point then? What's the point then? So, so the way I see it is that all these internal cultivation methods should prove themselves. Lineage teachings should prove themselves in every generation. It is not enough that 200 years ago there was some great master in some lineage, but there hasn't been any since. So in every generation, this is kind of my standard for methods, that in every generation there should be at least one fully enlightened master who has purified all three bodies and is therefore enlightenment. I think this is the absolute minimum requirement for lineage's authenticity. Oh, so this is the morning of the 6th day. It's 7 a.m. or so here, and we have today full day, tomorrow 7th day, and on the morning of the 8th day, I think we leave around 10 a.m. So I don't know if we will have practice sessions on Saturday morning, but then we'll then this retreat will be wrapped up, and yeah, I think I will make another video in a couple of days, maybe when I'm still here at the venue or when I've already left, but I think this is enough report at this point. Well, I didn't really report that much about the retreat itself, did I? But hopefully you found something interesting. Would be lovely to hear of you, so leave comments. You're welcome to leave questions as well. And if you think that my videos, if they give you some benefit or there's anything interesting in them, please share them for the liberation and happiness of all beings. Share them. Okay, thank you very much. See you later. Bye. Okay, good morning again. It's the last morning, or the last day here in Switzerland. And the last report of my retreat diary. Just made myself a cup of tea. The cows are out again. Just made myself a cup of tea, and I'm walking to my secret place where I do my morning practice. Which is there. Oh, there the cows are. I can't zoom with one hand, but maybe you can see those little dots in the middle. There's one flock of cows there. Sometimes it's nice when they come out in the morning, they get really excited, and then they start running together, and then there's the sound of the cowbells goes even more, so it gets really loud when they get excited and start running. Okay, so flipping this side, the camera, somebody's been sitting here in my secret practice place. Apparently last night somebody's meditation gear is here. Okay, howdy ho. So 7th morning here, last full day of the retreat. And tomorrow, when it's 8th morning, we won't have any practice sessions, just breakfast, cleaning, and then go before 10 a.m. So yesterday was a brilliant day. There was the refuge ceremony in the evening, and just immensely powerful. Powerful these ceremonies are. It always always kind of comes as a surprise. The last refuge ceremony we had in our Sangha was in about 6 months ago in Finland in the annual autumn retreat. Yeah, and we kind of don't have these every month, so it always comes as a positive surprise. What a wonderful events they are, and what powerhouses of blessings. Just beautiful. Everybody was flooded with such strong blessings. Which reminds me of something that I have taken refuge myself back in the day when I was a Zen Buddhist, and then I've seen refuge ceremonies in many other Buddhist lineages and training systems. And this is also related to just basic prayers, whatever they might be. Like all traditional training systems have some set of recitations, whether they are prayers or short sutras or short recitations, something like this. And yesterday evening, when we were chanting through the Bodhisattva vows and then refuge prayers and all these simple basic prayers that we have in our lineage, I was reminded. So we were chanting them and then always taking several minutes of break before the next prayer. And I've always taught it like this, and I've always taught my students to take in the blessings in between the chanting. Really feel them and take them in. Feel them with your body, inside your body, in your heart, in your head, in this way. And as we were enjoying those immensely strong blessings during the refuge ceremony today, I was reminded of these other refuge ceremonies that I've joined in the past, and I was reminded about the fact that people don't, in other systems, they don't know about these blessings being there. And I'll tell you an example of this. It was about 10 years ago, maybe 2015, 16. I joined a refuge ceremony in a Zen community. I did a Zen retreat. I won't tell where and any of the specifics, not to upset anybody, but I did this maybe 5 day Zen retreat with a European Zen teacher who's lived a long time in Japan, and he was teaching in Europe. And at the end of the retreat, there was refuge ceremony, and it was like the ceremony itself was like different prayers and different prayers and lighting up incense and just these basic ceremonial elements for about 10 A4 pages. So that was their ceremonial format. And I remember when the prayer started, and from the very beginning, there was like a showing respect to the founder of the Buddhist tradition, Buddha Shakyamuni. So very early on in the ceremony, there was some recitations, some prayers that showed respect and respect and admiration, let's put it that way, towards Buddha Shakyamuni. And I remember, how the presence of Buddha Shakyamuni came down like a this massive wave of blessings into the whole space where the ceremony was held and on the whole group. And I was taking it all in. But as I had been in that, I had seen that before. After a moment of just feeling Buddha's blessings in my whole body and taking them in, I looked at other people. Some people were newbies as practitioners. Some people were very experienced practitioners, having practiced for a long time. And then, of course, there was the teacher. And none of them were in connection with that Buddha's blessings. None of them. You can see that if people are feeling the charge and taking it in. You can easily see that. And it was one of many occasions that I've seen in not only in Zen Buddhism, but in all kinds of Buddhism and in all kinds of traditions, that people do not know that there is this blessing there, and even the teachers don't know. And because when they don't know, they don't point it out. You very extremely rarely hear it being mentioned or pointed out. I can count with maybe 2 or 3 fingers the occasions over the years when I've heard a teacher say that, okay, now the blessing comes, so feel it, take it in, just enjoy it. And this is also the case in the tantric training systems. So, when we speak of tantric Buddhism specifically, our attention, of course, turns to Tibetan Buddhism. Although there are tantric forms of and traditions of tantric Buddhism in Japan, in Korea, and so on. So Tibetan Buddhism isn't at all the only tantric tradition. And also tantric Buddhism and Tibetan Buddhism are not synonyms. So not all Tibetan Buddhism is tantric, not even nearly all. But I've seen this also the same issue in Tibetan Buddhism, which is, I always found it an indication of even the most simple and basic teachings getting lost within that tradition, because there are so many empowerments. Empowerments are often given by Tibetan Buddhist lamas, and then so there's lots of discharge, lots of blessings all the time, generated in different ways through recitations, through prayers, through all kinds of texts. But I think I have heard maybe once it being pointed out that there is this energetic element related to those prayers, coming out from those prayers. I heard it pointed out maybe once in all the many occasions that, different deity practices and so on, that there is this energetic element to the practice, and that we should really feel it and take it in our bodies. So this is what I was thinking yesterday evening when we had our refuge ceremony. And it would be so easy to fix this problem in the world of internal cultivation, internal yogas. It would be so easy to fix. And if you're interested, if you're listening to this, coming from those backgrounds and training in those systems, do this simply. So when you are chanting a mantra or a prayer, whatever text it is, after you have chanted it, don't move, don't go anywhere, don't become physically active, just sit there and take it in. Take it in like I'm enjoying sunlight here. Just take in the light and the warmth and feel it in your body. That's it. And there is a lot more to say about this. It's a process in itself, but this is, in a nutshell, this is the instruction. So it will be extremely easy to fix, but you know, I'm just one guy, one teacher teaching this, teaching the basics of internal cultivation. Okay, so today is the last full day. People are already practicing there with our instructors, are practicing rainbow body yoga like they have on every morning. And I'm here being lazy, sipping my morning tea, and well, I do my physical practices and little bit of meditation here. I already sat a long period in my own room a moment ago. So I do like to do my own practices in the mornings, and then we will have ordination tomorrow. Ordination for five of my long time students, which is lovely. The last ordination we had was in the summer of 2022, so almost 4 years ago. And now then 4 students were ordained, and now it's gonna be 5 more. So our ordained Sangha grows significantly today. So after breakfast, which is in less than an hour, there will be like a private empowerment session to my to be ordained students. And then we have 2 more sessions today. So the afternoon session, I said that I would speak about my latest observations and discoveries related to the, we've come to a point in our Sangha's work that we already have many people who have finished wisdom, emptiness, causal body side of practice. We have 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of those people, 6 more of such people during the last few months alone. So I don't have the exact number of people who finished wisdom, emptiness practice, causal body practice, but it's something like 27 maybe now, 28, something like that. And then we have causal body practice, then we have the subtle body or astral body practice, meridian system, and the total number of those people are now, there are a couple of people on their trial period, but at least 6 plus 2. So there are 2 having trial period, so half a dozen roughly. So that's where we are now. And then it's the third physical body, the karmic remnants in the physical body, and just opening the physical body, which is the last stage. And I think that one of my students have come to, on this retreat, has reached that stage. But we'll see, it's early days. So, so it's kind of interesting, I've been teaching full time this is my 18th year. So it's been a while, and I've led and taught, I don't know, must have been a couple of 100 retreats and courses. And it feels like this retreat, when I taught the autumn retreat last October in Finland, I still didn't have subtle body, astral body cessation myself. It happened week or 2 after that retreat. So it has been a different experience to teach this retreat, having the 2 subtle bodies in cessation, not having that karmic activity again, though I still have the karmic remnants in the physical cells, in the physical body. So from my work's perspective, this has been what I've recently, for several months now I've been working on figuring out how to release those karmic remnants from the physical body so that there will be the triple enlightenment of the three bodies, causal, astral, and physical. And lots of the discussions on this retreat with people has been themed around this topic. So those half a dozen students who have emptiness and subtle body realization, they've given talks, and some of these talks will be published on the Open Heart YouTube channel. But we've also just talked a lot about our experiences and our discoveries and so on. And this is actually another something that we were just discussing as a Sangha yesterday, this open discussion, pragmatic discussion, open sharing of experiences and views. This is also something that doesn't happen in traditional Dharma. So, as far as I'm aware, there isn't other Sangha where people openly speak about their awakening experiences and awakening process and cessations, nirodhas, and the details of the ins and outs. As far as I'm aware, there is no other Sangha like ours. But here's the thing. Like I always when I've spoken about this, here's the thing. It's just like learning different subjects at school. You know, when kids go to school, they are taught mathematics, biology, reading, writing, and so on. And because the kids are learning these subjects at school, they are talking about it with their teacher, and the teacher then gives advice and instructions, what is what, so the kids learn it. And I never understood why this kind of pragmatic discussion, why this kind of learning and study is not really used in Dharma. I do not understand why people don't talk about their internal experiences, including the most important one of those, samadhis and awakening experiences. So this kind of personal sharing, I'm not talking about taking a Lotus Sutra or taking Avatamsaka Sutra or taking tantric texts and then just going through the text. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about speaking of personal experiences and personal awakenings, something that you know or don't know through your first-hand experience. I'm talking about that, and that is a completely different discussion. But that discussion, as we've seen in our Sangha, is that this is the most fertile practice context. It is simply, and it makes perfect sense, doesn't it, that there is nothing, it seems like there are these weird superstitions, kind of like mystical beliefs around this. Many, I can think of many teachers who say that if you speak about your awakening experience, your most intimate discoveries, it will somehow have adverse or negative effects. No, that is not true. This is total superstition. Total superstition. It doesn't work like that. So if you, let's see if a dozen years ago, we started talking about the first awakening experience. That was what we were working on at the time. And I was a little bit sensitive about it because I had heard many famous masters say that you shouldn't talk about that stuff in public, or otherwise there will be some negative consequences, harmful consequences coming from it. So I was a bit sensitive, but I still felt like in my heart it made only sense that it would only benefit those who are seeking for this awakening. And I was exactly right. I was exactly right. And I've kept doing that. My students have kept doing that, speaking openly for all these years. And now it is perfectly 100% clear that these superstitious elements are superstition. They are nonsense. It is not accurate. So what comes out of sharing Dharma openly is immense positive waves of bodhicitta, compassion, love. It is actual expression of bodhicitta, our nature, to share, to openly share, to speak about the very things that liberate people from their delusions, from their afflictive emotions, from their samsaric existence. How could that not be only beneficial? But of course, if you believe, if you are stuck with the, let's say, fixated dogmatic view that it is harmful, then that will restrict you. Then you will start thinking in weird ways. But if you drop that and understand that, oh, this has benefited me, this has benefited others, people are actually learning the Dharma, recognizing their Buddha nature, their likeness with God through this sharing, it is apparent. But if you deny it, then you deny it. Yeah. So even the famous greatest masters, they don't have all the answers. So they are also, many of them, and there are many examples of this. I'm not denying that some great masters, that they are real masters. I have the highest respect for them. But cultural beliefs and norms do have a role in this. And not all masters have gone through the process of questioning their cultural norms and cultural proceedings. This is my point. So let's be clear about that. Okay. I have to move on with my morning practice to be able to do a little physical practice before the breakfast. It's gonna be a busy day. And thank you very much for listening. This is the last bit in my retreat diaries, in this little totally amateuristic documentary. So thank you for listening. Bless you all and see you in the next one. Okay, thank you. Bye.